Check out the show, Keeping It 100, hosted by Mel Tiller and Bruce Milam, aka Downtown Bruce, sponsored by the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. You get hot topics, business spotlights, interviews, how to grow your wealth, and life coaching every second and fourth Saturday at high noon on 88.1 KCEP. You're listening to Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce, sponsored by the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. What they see is what they'll be. I'm Mel Tiller, your host, and I am pleased to have as our guest today a friend of the show. Her name is Senator Catherine Cortez Masto. Senator Masto, welcome to the show.
Oh, Mel, it's always great to join you. You sound great. You sound wonderful, by the way.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. Let's get right to it.
Okay.
There's so much going on. I often say this, everything revolves around leadership. Everything revolves around leadership. And President Biden is making some strong foreign policy moves around the world. Talk to us about why it's so important for us to support President Zelensky and Ukraine in their war against Russia.
Yeah, well, Mel, thank you. Thank you for that question, because I do not think people realize and give President Biden the credit that he really deserves, which is aligning all of our friends and our allies in NATO and coming together to support what is happening in Ukraine. Putin's war is illegal. It's devastating to the people in Ukraine. He is killing innocent people and civilians because he is waging a war that he thinks he needs to take over Ukraine. At the end of the day, Ukrainians and the president are fighting for their right and their ability just to be sovereign and free, right, from Russian oversight, and to be free as Ukrainians to live under a system that they believe in. And part of this is our democratic values around the world, is to continue to support our friends and allies as well. And so President Biden, when he came into office, remember, under the previous administration, our alliances with some of our friends and allies were fractured.
Yes.
And because President Biden believes in those relationships and has the ability to bring people together, he united so many under NATO and brought new countries in under NATO to really support one another and support Ukraine and what is happening there with Ukraine to beat back and push back against Putin's illegal war. And so it is crucial that we continue to support Ukrainians, both from a security perspective, but also humanitarian perspective. And I will say this, Mel, because I'm hearing, on Fox News and some of these other organizations that people believe that, well, we don't worry about anybody else but ourselves. We stick our head in the sand, we close our borders, and we only worry about ourselves.
Yes.
That's not our democratic values. That's not who we are, and that's not how we continue to promote those values around the world. I also believe and know that we can do both. We can still address affordable housing needs here. We can still address mental health. We can still protect and keep our communities safe. We can still lower costs in this country, which we have been doing, and still support with our allies, countries like Ukraine, and who are fighting to maintain their independence. So that's, to me, the benefits of this country. We can do both.
Yes,
and that's
we
what
can. Yes,
right?
we can. So China has been troublesome. And in order to answer that call that China has been making toward us, the president has had a trilateral summit, and he's bringing together Japan and South Korea. Talk to us about why that's important.
It is important because, again, this goes back to around the world, really focusing and building and continuing to build alliances with our friends. And South Korea and Japan are our friends. And what is happening at Camp David today is a continuation of that conversation about all of our national security, when it comes to the government of China and the leadership in China that is encroaching in our space, in threatening through that national security. But let me just say this: China is our economic competitor.
Yes.
And that's okay. We can have economic competitors. And the United States wants to lead economically. We want to be the number one manufacturer here and and create jobs here. And it's good for our economy. It's good for our workers here. We want to continue down that path. And the legislation that we have passed, from the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law to the Inflation Reduction Act to the CHIPS and Science Act, all of that benefits our country and puts us in a position where we are strong economically. So our goal here is not to decouple ourselves from China, just to de-risk ourselves, right? So that we can work with our allies, have that trade that promotes our economy, but still protects our jobs here and our workers here and moving forward. And that's what you see happening in the conversation that the president is having today and continuing to have with so many of our friends and allies around the world.
That's a nice bridge to talking about Bidenomics. It seems to me that President Biden's economic policies have been strong and very good for our country. Tell us about that.
Well, people forget that, of course, we came out of this horrific pandemic that shut everything down around the world. And so we were seeing high cost supply chain issues, inflation, all of that happening. So the administration working with so many of us in Congress were figuring out how we address those. And it was this idea of putting policies in place that are going to address the long term. I will tell you now, we passed some of that policy. And I just talked about the bipartisan infrastructure package that we passed, that's bipartisan, right, out of Congress, yes. Is literally creating jobs in our community. It is bringing projects here and jobs and broadband. It's connecting all of our communities so nobody is left behind. And those are jobs for not only our unions, it's jobs in our communities, it's growing our economy. And that is something that is set to go. Those investments are long-term, from 5 to 10 years. That will continue to promote. I was just in Northern Nevada in our historic West Side, and talking about how we work together to ensure that some of that funding comes into our communities to create our workforce and our workforce development, and bring those jobs and opportunities to our businesses. Because that's part of this, is once we pass the legislation, Nevada's competing for those dollars like every other state and community. So we have to go and fight for it. We have to apply for those grants. We have to make sure that that money's coming into our communities. And that's the work that I'm doing. But that law would not have passed but for President Biden. And then you add the Inflation Reduction Act that we passed, yes, thanks to President Biden, that lowered our healthcare costs. So for so many seniors in our community, we now have prescription drug negotiation that helps lower those costs. We cap the cost of insulin, right? So that healthcare costs are affordable. We're bringing down energy costs for families as we lean into the renewable energy space. So that's good for our communities. And people don't give him credit for the work that's been done already in these long-term investments. And that's the benefit, Mel, that quite honestly you get when you have an administration and Congress that really care about the communities and thinking about this country long-term and not about their own politics.
I agree totally. So America is less free now than it was 5 years ago. The LGBTQ community feels less safe. They're being attacked. The African-American community is concerned. Affirmative action was repealed. Books are being banned. Roe versus Wade was repealed. Women no longer have freedom to make decisions about their own bodies. What is the greatest threat to American democracy and our freedoms today, as you see it?
Oh, man, that is a great question. You're right. We still have challenges. And I will say it starts with a couple of things. We have a Supreme Court in the United States right now that literally, I say it's Mitch McConnell's Supreme Court. He worked so hard to get these right-wing judges on this court, and he has them. And now we see the fruits of that labor, which is taking away the rights of so many across this country, including women, when they overturned Roe versus Wade and took away across this country the right of women to choose about their reproductive freedom rights. Now, Nevada's protected to some extent because we have a state law that protects a woman's right to choose, but at a federal level, they're trying to take it away from us. So that hasn't stopped. We have a Supreme Court that literally has struck down affirmative action,
Yes.
which, as you know, diversity is what makes our schools and our country strong. That's who we are. That's what this is about. And it is outrageous that any Supreme Court would think that gutting fair opportunities that uplift our communities is the right thing to do. And so, again, and then we have a Supreme Court that literally struck down President Biden's student debt relief plan. You know, it's a debt relief plan. Listen, I didn't agree with the specifics of it because I thought there was a way we could handle it, but we got to do something about really debt, student debt in this country. It's outrageous to me. And so there's work that we can do together that the administration has now focused on trying to address that debt relief. And the Republicans are still going after them because of that. They have taken away voting rights, right?
Yeah.
They have struck down voting rights in this country so that making it much harder for members of our communities to even get out and exercise their right to vote. Why? Because they want to control who gets elected for these very reasons that we're seeing right now. So it is a challenging time. And I think this is why it matters, Mel, who we elect. It matters who's going to stand up there and fight for all of these rights that are now being rolled back, because that is a threat to our freedoms. Well, when we talk about our freedoms in this country, it should be about a woman's right to choose the healthcare that's right for her when it comes to her reproductive freedom. Should be about the right to be able to vote and exercise that right to vote without restrictions or bans on it, right? And so we see this happening across the country. Again, one other thing I didn't even talk about, Supreme Court limiting LGBTQ protections.
Yes.
It's just crazy to me. And so again, this is why it matters who we elect and put on these federal benches. And that's why I say to people, I know sometimes people feel that their vote doesn't count, but Mel, it counts. It matters in Nevada. Think about this. I won by 7,928 votes. Had I not won, my opponent would be all supporting taking away all these rights. He would be right there taking away the rights of individuals. So it does matter. And that is the biggest threat. And I'll say this, the other thing that I see and we can connect the dots to is this idea that the last election was stolen, and former President Trump and so many in his realm and supporters going around saying it was stolen and trying to undermine our democratic process. There's no doubt in my mind that incited the mob on January 6th that was trying to stop the peaceful transfer of presidential power in this country. That is also a threat to our democracy and what we see playing out right now. So there's some good that's happening under the current administration with folks that are really prioritizing what we need to do in this country, but there are still some extremists out there that want to take it away. And so we've got to be cognizant of it and be very active in our local and state and federal governments as well.
What does the fact that President Trump has been indicted mean for American democracy?
Well, I will tell you, first of all, nobody's above the law. Nobody. I don't care what position you hold. Nobody's above our law, our rule of law here, which is emulated around the world with other countries. It really is important for so many to see this, right? And for those to be held accountable if they violate the law. That's one. Two, it goes to what we have been saying. If you just look at the facts and the evidence, and it's what I said earlier, there was a connection between what we saw with the president going around saying that the election was stolen and inciting that mob and trying to stop that peaceful transfer of power from one president to the other. That's part of this. But I do think it is important for people to see that our system and rule of law, maybe not perfect, but it is a democratic way of holding people accountable by their peers to show that nobody can circumvent or undermine our communities, our rule of law, and get away with it, no matter what stature you are.
Well, it's August, you're home, and you're traveling around the state. What initiatives are you focused on for the state of Nevada?
Oh, listen, this is the best part that I love, just to be back home and just getting around the state. I will tell you a couple of things that I am focused on. One of them is implementing all the legislation we've passed to make sure these good jobs, right, and these projects are in Nevada.
Yes.
But a couple of things we've talked about, Mel. One is mental health. We have a mental health crisis in Nevada, across the country. My work on this space has helped support the 988 hotline we now have in Nevada, the crisis stabilization center that we have in Nevada. For those that are in acute mental distress, they can call that hotline 988 instead of 911 and get a mental health professional to help them. There's more work that needs to be done because we have to grow out that continuum of care, where once they call in and we stabilize them, some may need short-term residential help or long-term residential help, but they might need it, and we need to grow that in Nevada, and that's what I'm working on. And the other is housing, affordable housing, right? In this state, we still have a housing crisis. And the number one, listen, I grew up here and I watched as my parents, you build your wealth. So many people felt you built your wealth by owning your own home. It was part of how you moved forward and gave more to your kids and your family. And so I think it is important we continue to ensure that if you want to own a home, you can afford it. And that's the work that I'm doing now as I sit on banking and housing, is passing legislation to incentivize the building of those homes, but at the same time providing essential support for homeowners to help them get into those homes. Let me just give you a perfect example of this. Is I've been pushing back on two federal agencies, trying to get them to work together. The BLM, Bureau of Land Management, and HUD, our Housing and Urban Affairs Agency division. And because what happens is in Nevada, most of the land is owned by the federal government. And we have a piece of legislation called SNPLMA. It's a Public Lands Management Act here in Southern Nevada that allowed the federal government to transfer some land for affordable housing. To do that, it triggers the BLM and HUD to work together. Because they weren't working together, it took forever for that land to transfer. And because we couldn't transfer the land, it was disincentivizing projects to be built for affordable housing. So just recently, and I've been pushing on BLM and HUD to simplify, come together, do a memorandum, an agreement to simplify how that process, they would review that process and approve it. They just finally came out with their ruling that does just that. So to me, that's part of this step of ensuring more of these projects can be built for affordable housing in our communities in a quicker path, much simpler and easier than it has been in the past.
Senator Masto, as always, you've been so gracious with your time. Thank you for joining us today.
No, thank you. It's wonderful to talk with you.
You've been listening to Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce, sponsored by the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. What they see is what they'll be. I'm Mel Tiller, your host, and that's Keeping It 100.
Keeping It 100 with Mel Tiller and Bruce Milam, a.k.a. Downtown Bruce, sponsored by the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas on 88.1 KCEP, the People's Station.
What's up, everybody? This is the one and only Bruce Milam Jr., a.k.a. Downtown Bruce, keeping it 100 with Mel and Bruce on 88.1 KCEP. And listen, guys, I have the one and only realtor of Las Vegas, the relationship realtor, right? This is my realtor, right? She sold me my first house out here in Las Vegas, my first and only home with me and my wife. This is the one and only Shannon Hearn is in the building. What's up, Shannon?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Shannon. You know what? I'm glad we got a chance to, finally get you on. And so, thank you for selling us our house. It's been wonderful. The process with you was amazing.
I appreciate the opportunity. It was my pleasure. Seriously.
It was seamless. It was beautiful. I wish I could buy another home from you right now, but I will as an investor later on.
That's right. It's coming. It's coming soon. Claim it.
So let's talk to you I finally got you here. Let everybody know, who is Shannon Hearn and where you from, and a little bit about yourself and how long you've been in real estate.
Absolutely. Who is Shannon Hearn? So Shannon Hearn is a dedicated, loyal, passionate person. I am a mother of 3. My youngest, 7, and now turned 9 as of a couple days ago. And crazy to say, I have a 21-year-old too. So yeah, start all over again. I am a wife, I'm a friend, I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm all those things. I've been in real estate full-time 4 years. I come from a financial background, 15 years in the financial services industry, litigation world. So yeah, that is a little bit about me.
Wow. So you've been in real estate for 4 years, and you say you've been in some financial litigation. What did you do there with the litigation?
So funny to say, I worked at a financial company or a financial institution. So I work in the litigation department when you defaulted on your automobile car loans. Yeah, I took you to court. So not the brightest of people's lives, but now I get to experience the other side. So I get to experience the joy opposed to the downside and the hardship. So
she's a fighter, you guys. She do not play. And one thing I can say, she is a go-getter hustler. Now I'll be on Facebook. I'll be following you online. I'll be like, that girl closed another house. How many houses? I ain't trying to be in her pocket or nothing. And I know she rode up in that Velar and everything, but I'm like, listen, how many houses is this?
Hey, not the Velar. I have the Sport.
The Sport. Okay, she got the Sport. She got the Range Rover Sport. But listen, I said, how many houses is this girl selling? Every time I look up, close. That means she has lots of referrals. People trust her. She's doing good at what she does. And so I just want to give you that props. I do recognize that you're a go-getter and a true hustler, entrepreneur, true realtor out there handling your business. So
I appreciate that. It's just so important for me to promote ownership at the end of the day, and especially ownership amongst us minorities. We need to get in there and start owning things and taking things back that was taken from us years ago. So I think so many people have the misconception that, it takes a 750 credit score and $100,000 in the bank to obtain ownership. And it really doesn't. Even if you have very minimal credit, or even if you have very minimal money in the bank, they have so many programs to turn people into homeowners. We just need that knowledge. We need somebody to let us know and somebody to advocate for us. And that's what I'm definitely here for, turning people, into homeowners every single day, especially us minorities. So that's super important to me.
So why do they call you the relationship realtor? What is that all about?
So it's not about just the transaction. As you've experienced, we close escrow, and so many times realtors disappear. You don't hear anything from your realtor. They've gotten their check and, go about their business. But I'm very relationship driven. So I always like to check in, see how people are doing, see if they need anything. Happy birthday, happy anniversary. I see you on Facebook. You got a new dog, and maybe I'll send you a dog bone or a dog biscuit or something. So it's more than just the transaction. It's really about being a part of my people's lives and in their world. And I tell people from the very beginning, you might get sick of me because you are not going to stop hearing from me. I'm going to check in on you, check in on your family. I like to be present. If you have a birthday party at your house, send me an invite. I want to come through. So we really become family and friends. It's not just, I'm your realtor. I'm part of your life and your world.
Listen, Shannon came to our housewarming party. We threw down, I barbecued all day. I had a lot of people.
Good too.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I appreciate that. Birthdays, we got, Valentine's Day wishes and Starbucks cards. She always sending gifts. And that's how we ended up doing the interview today. She had called checking on us. I'm like, hey, Shannon, it's time for you to come on the show. She just called to just check on us and make sure we were good. We did this transaction about 1.5 years ago, and she's still making sure that we are okay. Transaction was over, but for her being the relationship realtor, it is never over. And I really appreciate that. Most realtors.
Truly my pleasure, for real.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so now that we got all that good stuff off the way, let's get a little deep now. You've been in real estate for 4 years and was in litigation. Now, what is the state of real estate? That's what people want to know. What's going on? You got the inside scoop. Where we at today, especially in Las Vegas and nationwide? People hear a lot of rumors. They hear a lot of stories. They don't know where we at, if it's up, if it's down, where is it going? What do you see, and how is business going right now?
Business is steady. I think that where we were for the last 2 years, we had those crazy interest rates, 3%, 2.5%. People got spoiled at the end of the day. So I think now that interest rates have increased, we might be at 6.5%, 7%. Everybody's like, oh my goodness, they're on edge. But if you look at it historically, that's kind of the average of where we've been for the last, I don't know how many years. That's a good interest rate. If you look back at, 15, 20 years ago, they were buying at 18, 19, 20% interest. So everybody's jumping because the interest rates have now, gone back to ideally where they have been. It's stabilizing. So I always tell people, worst case scenario, you buy in at the interest rate that is present now, and a couple years from now, whatever the case may be, if interest rates increase, guess what? You already bought it at a lower rate. But the plus side of things is if you buy at the interest rate now and they drop, which I don't foresee it happening. I don't think interest rates are ever going to go back to where they were, at least in our lifetime. Again, we don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know, but that's just my prediction. But if they do drop, guess what? Refinance. And the thing about it too is, if they do drop, you're going to have all these buyers flooding the market again. And what is it doing? It's driving up the home price. Now we have people back paying $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 over appraised value. First-time home buyers have no skin in the game because they can't compete with that. So it's like, weighing the pros and the cons. So I always say, regardless of what the interest rate is, focus on your monthly payment. If you're comfortable with that monthly payment, why does it matter what the interest rate is? And, you would rather be paying into yourself ultimately than paying somebody else's mortgage, because one way or another, you're either going to be paying your mortgage or the person who owns the house's mortgage at the end of the day. So you have to make a wise decision. And you know what? I practice what I preach at the end of the day. I'm a homeowner. I own properties. And, at the end of the day, I can't imagine paying somebody else's. It just doesn't make sense when I can be paying my own, and the equity that you can build over the years. And it's just the way to go, so.
You get a chance to have this steady overhead, right? So no matter what, you might have a couple things may go up where there's the insurance or, a couple of little things like that. But, electricity, but that always go up, right? You might have some things like that. But as far as the mortgage is concerned, I'm steady. So as everybody rents go up, and I have people rents go up $500,
Yep.
like jump from one rate up to $500 more per month. Right.
And it's going to consistently happen. We have no rent control out here as of right now. So people could increase it to whatever they see fit. And as Las Vegas is building and growing, and we have, football teams and basketball teams and hockey teams and all these teams coming in, it's anticipated that the baseball team is coming in. What do you think is going to happen? Rent is only going to increase. But lucky for us, we're locked in. So, we just ride that wave of equity and keep paying our mortgage, and we don't have to worry about those things. And it's having that security too, knowing somebody can't tell me that my rent is going up $500.
That's right.
It's a ball game. So it's really a good feeling.
How can they find you right now? What's people out there wondering, like, man, you got me excited. You're right. My rent just went up. I am ready to buy a home. I need to call Shannon Hearn.
You can also hit me up on my social media. So you can find me on Facebook, Shannon in Hearn. You can find me on Instagram at realtorshannon.nv, or call my cell phone, 702-439-9696. And I will tell you, there's steps to home ownership. So don't become a first home buyer or be interested and think that, you're going to step in the game and get a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. Sometimes you just have to buy something, put your foot in the game, get you a little condo, get you a townhouse, and let that product buy your next home and your next home and your next home. So be smart about it.
Right. And what other tips can you also give us about those buyers coming in with the market right now?
Yeah, I would say, even if you feel like your credit is very subpar, even if you feel like, you're out of reach with home ownership, still reach out, get on a plan, have it laid out in front of you that these are the steps that you need to take in order to, accomplish those goals. Don't just think that it's so far away that you can't achieve it. It might be very just minimal steps. I can definitely connect you with my lender. We can put you on a plan, whether it happens now, whether it happens in a year. The point is it happens. So put that foot forward and just get going. Just start.
What do the listeners out there need to have ready before they say, I'm ready to buy this house? What are some of the, things that they need to have in order before they get with you, and then you connect them with the lender? Because I call it the dream team. When Shannon hooked me up, I had the lender, we was rolling, I had all my stuff together, and there's things I had to get together on the way. So what do the listeners need to have ready when they call you, so they can not waste your time, but be more ready, right? Things they can get prepared for.
I would say no call is a waste of time. You have to have the passion, the desire, and the drive to want home ownership. So again, I'm the type of person that I really focus on the relationship. So even if you're not ready, connect with me, let me connect you to my team, and let's put a plan together. So it might take a little bit of time, but as long as we have the plan and we're looking to execute the plan, that's where the magic happens right there. So I'm not going to say, make sure you're on your job for X amount of time or make sure you have this in your bank. No, it's not about that. It's about growth and building. And if I can help you grow, build, and get to that point, reach out to me now. Don't wait.
Shannon actually was working with us when we was in an apartment, and we was actually reached out to her to find us another apartment before we bought a home. So she was, guiding us about credit and different things. This is what we need to do. And when it was time to buy the home, we called her back. Hey, Shannon, we ready to actually buy a home now. So we was talking to her way before, and she ended up finding us our home, helped us with the process and all that. So I can say that, don't wait. You guys, so don't think, oh, I got to get my credit up here. I got to get this. There's so many programs. Shannon gave us program information, gave us a lender, gave us the proper guidance, where we want to stay at. I would say have some of those ideas, but if you don't even have to, Shannon will help you out through that process. If you're a beginner, you're a lead in this process, wherever you at, call Shannon. Shannon, one more time, can you give them your information?
My cell phone is 702-439-9696. Again, 702-439-9696. Call, text. If I don't answer, I will get back to you. Or you can reach out on Facebook, Shannon In. Don't forget the middle initial N as in Nicole, Hearn, Hearn, or Instagram, Realtor, Realtor, Shannon.NB. And I will tell you, be careful who you're getting advice from. I see so many people and hear so many people getting advice from people who are not even homeowners. So just be mindful of who you speak your wishes to, who you speak your dreams. There are dream killers around, but definitely reach out to me because I'm here to make that magic happen and make your dreams come true.
Now, what about the sellers? Do you have any advice for the sellers out there?
Ooh, the sellers. I mean, obviously, we're still dealing with low inventory. As I looked, we're down to 9.5 weeks of inventory. A lot of sellers are sitting on equity right now. So there's not a lot of motivation to move, especially with the interest rates being high. My sellers, if you have the motivation to move, let's do it. You're still getting top dollars. I wouldn't say it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. I think it's a middleman market at the end of the day. So I think that the sellers still have a great opportunity and the buyers have an opportunity. So if the motivation is there, let's go.
The future of Las Vegas real estate right now?
I think we're only going to grow. We're only going to get bigger. Prices are only going to get, increase. So it's crazy to see where we've been and where we are now. And I only think that we're going to continue to evolve out here.
I love that because I see that, like you said, the baseball coming, just like when the Raiders came, prices went up. And I'm hearing, movie studios are coming because they want to give that tax break. Mark Wahlberg, he is, have a studio that's coming in Summerlin. It's so much happening right now. Las Vegas is finally going through that big pop that has been waiting for a long time. It's right here. Entertainment, they're bringing in, I heard Six Flags is trying to come here. You name it. Everybody wants a piece of Vegas right now. There's so many people want a piece of Vegas. They're, like you said, they're building like $10 million homes and $20 and $30 million homes for the owners and for the people, high level entertainers that have to come back and forth here that want a piece of Las Vegas. So I say this is the time. Call Shannon right now, and so call her, email her, get on her Facebook, and when you get on her Facebook, you will see that she be closing those deals. I'll be hyped up. I say, Shannon be getting it. Me and my wife, we be sitting home. We want to give you a virtual high five. Like, Shannon, go girl. You are tearing that market up. Do your thing. I
appreciate that.
We absolutely love it. So tell me, do you have any last tips for the listeners of Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce?
Last tips, just make the connection. Again, I think it's so important, even if you're not ready right now, to have a plan in place and a goal, I think is the most powerful thing you can do right now. So just start putting some effort towards home ownership. Again, even if you don't think it's achievable right now, just know you can put a plan together and you can achieve it. So don't doubt yourself. Be careful, again, who you speak your dreams and your goals to, because you have people that knock you down, but just make sure that you have a solid support team around you that's going to build you up and wants you to accomplish that goal just as much as you want to accomplish it. So don't hesitate to reach out and make it happen.
The relationship realtor. That's a tongue twister. I love it. The relationship realtor, where she actually builds a relationship up with you. This is Miss Shannon Hearn is in the building. Well, I thank you for your time. And I would love for you to come back again and just let us know about the state of real estate right here in Las Vegas and around the world of what's going on. As people look at the prices going up, they don't know if it's going down. But the thing is, get in the game now. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Okay.
Yep.
Forget about the rate, forget about what you hear on the news and all the hype. The thing is, if you're renting right now, you don't know if your rent is going to go up. Matter of fact, you do know it's going to go up.
It's definitely going to go up.
You definitely know it's going to go up. But my mortgage has been the same for the last year and a half, consistent. So I got a set budget. I know what I'm paying. I'm good. I'm building equity. When a baseball team is here, my house is going to be is going to go up in value. Yep. I'm not too far from the strip. I picked a cool location, right? My house is going to go up in value. I'm on a cul-de-sac in the gated community, right? My house is going to go up. So I'm just sitting here paying the same amount of money as I build an empire, and my value of my home is going up, and I'm getting equity with my wife. House sold to me by Shannon Hearn, the relationship realtor, and she's
you got it right.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about. And you guys are listening to Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce, and I'm the one and only Bruce Milam Jr., aka Downtown Bruce. And Shannon, thank you so much for coming by.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Okay, we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
What's up, Las Vegas? This is DJ Benzo, and you are listening to Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce on the People Station, Power 88.1.
You're listening to Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce, sponsored by the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. What they see is what they'll be. I'm Mel Tiller, your host, and today's guest is one of the most important men in our community. You know him. His name is Dr. Jesus Yara. He is the superintendent of the Clark County School District. Dr. Yara, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mel. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
Listen, I so much appreciate you being on the show because the community always wants to hear what you have to say. Let's start out with this question. What excites you about this school year?
Well, that's an easy question. The kids. That is our number one priority, is really to provide a high quality education for our babies from pre-K, kindergarten, all the way to the 12th grade. Being the first day of school, being in schools, it's just really felt the excitement. But even before that, it's kind of all the back to school fairs and all the community support that we've had.
Yes.
Really seeing kids and seeing we're getting a little bit, the further away we get from COVID and what happened to us in 2021, 22, was seeing some normalcy back in our kids' life. So that is really exciting.
Great. Listen, what are you focused on? What are a couple of the initiatives that you guys are trying to achieve at CCSD?
Yeah, no, we got a few things, right? Obviously, when you really think about the number one is our teacher pipeline, and really how do we close the gap? The last time that this school system opened fully staffed was in 1994. So that's always been a challenge for us. We're up to 94% of our classrooms being fully staffed, but you still have a 6%. It's been an increase of 2% this year. We've hired over, more than 450 more than we did last year. Public education has been under attack nationally, but, our recruiting team and really looking at what we're doing across the country, but then also locally. We have really excited about another great partnership with Nevada State University now, with Dr. Pollard there, amazing leader, and really building a pipeline not only for our support staff to become teachers, but then also our students that are in the teacher academy. We're using some of the federal dollars to pay for their college education so they can go back into our schools. So a lot of great work that's happening. We still have gaps, but, putting a certified, highly qualified teacher in every classroom is one of our top priorities this year.
So talk to me about what you feel you all really do well. in a job like yours, there's always a lot of criticism and that sort of thing. That kind of goes with the territory. But from your perspective,
it does.
Listen, I've been in charge. I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
But talk to me about what you feel CCSD does really well.
So I'm going to tell you, this past 2.5 years, after coming out, building the team, building a school system from scratch, and I say from scratch, even though we've been here 100 years, I'm going to tell you what I've seen in the commitment of our community, meaning our staff caring about children. I think we all care. We all have different ways to do that. And I think there's, if you're out of the 40,000 employees, the commitment to success by our employees for our kids is by far doesn't go unnoticed from my office. That's number one. Number two is we're really passionate about building a high quality academic system. What we've put together from the team in the central office, supporting our principals, developing our principals so then they can support our teachers in professional learning. You got to take care of the adults, right? And you got to really support adults so then the adults are ready to support our kids. So I think that is one of the things that we have done really well in these last 3 years. But it's taking care of the adults to take care of the kids, giving them the tools. We have now aligned curriculum that's aligned to the national standards that we have to teach. That is historic for the first time in over 10 years. And I think the team has done a really, really good job in delivering that to our principals so they can deliver it to our teachers. So, our that's just the instructional side. In our transportation side, last year, Jennifer Bovis, our director of transportation, was recognized as the top transportation director in the nation.
Wow.
And so that means our bus drivers, our board increased their pay. We don't have the vacancies that other districts are still facing because when you increase pay, we've been able to recruit. We still have vacancies, but not to the level as we did before. So we're moving in the right direction. And I think those are things that have been from a commitment of the people the 40,000 employees that are here committed to our kids.
Listen, there's always a lot of criticism that goes around when there are problems. From and one of the messages that I try to deliver on a regular basis is that this is an all hands on deck situation, and that the entire community has to participate in the solution. From your perspective, what can the community do to help CCSD?
First of all, number one, I'm going to tell you, for our parents, you need to be involved, right? You need to understand what's happening. Talk to your kids. If your kids, listen, my 3 kids are grown, but when they were going to school, right, you asked the question and say, well, how was school? It was good. It was, teenagers don't want to talk to you, right? I mean,
no, they don't.
They don't want anything to do with you, but you have to continue to pry and get to for them to share what happened, how did school go. So that's number one, is understanding what we're doing, and then contact us if you're seeing that your child is withdrawn. If the kid doesn't want to come to school, there's got to be a reason. There is a reason. So let us know so then we can help you. That's the number one thing. And I can tell you as a parent and for parents. Number two, what I can tell you, something that we're struggling with, and this is one of our struggles. Our absenteeism, it got better. It dropped, so it's getting better. But we have to think about our kids need to be in school every day. Every day matters. Just like you show up to work, every single day matters. You got to be there. You're gonna come to work. You got to get paid. We have to instill that. And one of the things that I ask this community is, if it's very simple. Between 7 and 3, teenagers, young adults, babies need to be in the classroom, need to be in school. So, those are things that I ask you. If ask the question, why aren't you in school today? Remember when we were growing up, you knew if you weren't in school and you were not allowed to be in the convenience store because they wouldn't serve you. They saying you'd get to class, right? I mean, not that I missed a day or two, but that's the reality. So I need this community and the business community and our partners in our community to say, to really go on this campaign with us. Like I've asked the mayors publicly, needs to be a all hands on deck about getting our kids to our classrooms, because our absenteeism rate is a little bit over 35% of chronic absentees. That means that kids have missed more than 10 days of school. That's not good, but we have to get there. But, you know, these are things coming out of COVID, right? When we were in COVID, we were saying, well, if you got a cold, we didn't know so much. We asked you to stay home. Now, send them to school so we can take care of them. Every day matters. I think this community, it's not about, it's just really asking the questions, being involved as to saying, at work, are your kids in school today? Do you have your kids in school in the community? Because that's the most important. I would tell you that is one of the most important things that for our community to really have a passion about getting kids to school. Now, if they don't want to come to school, then you need to call us because there's something going on that we need to address.
Now, as you know, I'm a retired Marine, and in the Marine Corps, leadership is everything. One of our major axioms is lead by example. Now, what many in the community may not know is, but I know because you and I have had many conversations, you also have a coach that you work with on a regular basis. So tell us, give me 2 or 3 things that you have learned and that you have gotten specifically because you're working every day to get better. Tell us a couple of things that you have gotten from your coach.
So I'm going to tell you, that's a great question. I do have a coach, a retired superintendent that's been on the other side, right? And then also my mentor. You know, I'm a much better superintendent today than I was 5 years ago. I can tell you that. And I'm going to be a better superintendent in 3 and 4 years than I am today, because there's that continuing growth. It's really one of the things that is that I can tell you as he has been my partner and side by side is to really slow down and analyze things both ways, right? Because you're quick to make decisions as you know, I say I was 32 when I got this job 5 years ago, and now I'm 53, right? You have a sense of urgency because you want to fix things, right?
Yes.
What he has taught me is you got to slow down, analyze, make, you know, as you're making your decisions, you need to look at and then bring in a very small core group that can look at your blind spots that you may be missing because you're so intently focused on the decision that the closer you are to the problem or the decision, the less subjective you are. And that's what he always tells me. So being an outside partner, he can kind of objectively look at some of the pitfalls and blind spots that I may be missing.
I like that a lot. Listen, I greatly appreciate your time. I know that you have a lot to do and you have a very busy schedule. What would you like to leave our listening audience with?
I think, first of all, let me thank you, Mel, and the 100 Black Men for the partnership that you have been a great partner with us. Every kid is important. I want this community to understand that I believe and we believe we're far away from where we need to be. But I want the community to know if there's some issues to contact my office, contact us so we can get them in the right and address the challenges. I think the message is every day matters. Every single day, our kids need to be in our classrooms with our teachers, with our principals, with our support staff, and we'll take good care of them. So we're committed. And we need all of you to help us get there. So thank you.
Those are the words of our superintendent, Dr. Jesus Hara. You've heard it here on Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce. I'm Mel Tiller, and that's Keeping It 100.
This is Antonio Vargas, and you're listening right here, right now, to Mel and Bruce on Keeping It 100.
You're listening to Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce, sponsored by the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. What they see is what they'll be. I'm Mel Tiller, your host. I'm thrilled to be with you, and I'm thrilled to have our next guest. Her name is Kara Jenkins, and she is the administrator of the Nevada Equal Rights Commission. Kara, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mel. I'm so grateful to be here. Good morning to you, the 100, and all the viewers. Appreciate the opportunity to talk about the Equal Rights Commission with you this morning.
Listen, not a lot of people know exactly what the Equal Rights Commission does. You are in charge of the Nevada Equal Rights Commission. You've been there for a while. How long have you been with the Equal Rights Commission?
Oh, Mel, I've been with NERC. That's our acronym for the Nevada Equal Rights Commission. I've been with NERC for going on 11 years. This September, I was appointed by former Governor Brian Sandoval in 2013. Going on this September, it'll be 11 years. Yeah. And before that, prior to that, I did work as an appointee under Governor Sandoval in another state agency. But NERC has been the dream job of a lifetime. To run an agency that protects people against discrimination within the whole state has truly been an honor, and it marries my love of law. I'm a law graduate, and also just my ability to investigate. I'm inquisitive in that way, and also to just outreach to people. This has been a great opportunity to make sure that Nevada is at the forefront of making sure that we're on point with making sure people feel equally included in the state. So I'm so glad to be here. Outreach is a very big, strong component of our agency. The other aspect is investigation, but this is where we get to be friendly and can say hi and talk to people about what we've seen and how we look at discrimination cases in the state, and also offer to your viewers an option to reach out to us should they feel that they've been discriminated against in housing, by their bosses in employment, or in public spaces, in schools, in businesses, and all aspects of basically living here in the state.
Many people who are listening to us now are dealing with those kinds of issues. How do they contact you? What's your contact info?
Thank you for that, Mel. So we have, if you go into the chat aspect of this Zoom call, we have our website. You can go to our website, and we took great care to make it very user-friendly and easy to navigate. You can go to our website, and that's deter.nv.gov/NERC. Or you can just
Can you
Google
spell that out,
NERC.
please? Can you spell that out, please?
Sure. It's https:// D as in David, E as in Edward, T as in Tom, R as in Rain, .nv for Nevada, .gov, GOV/NERC, NERC. You can also just Google Nevada Equal Rights Commission, and we'll pop up in the search engine there, and you can just hit our website to bypass typing in that. But the website's very friendly. It talks about how to file a complaint, what type of complaint you can file, and there's a video on how to do it. Very user-friendly. We wanted to make sure that people could come to us and understand, Mel, how to file a complaint, because usually by the time someone is filing a complaint with us, things have gotten pretty tense in their lives. And so we want to make sure that as a government agency, if you're going through hardship or you're feeling discriminated against, that you can access the government in a way that's not adding to the stress. So you can submit your complaint online, and then within 2 weeks, someone will contact you. We get about 1,600 complaints a year.
Wow.
We partner with the EEOC, which is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. A lot of people have heard of EEOC, but we're the state's version of the EEOC. If you're facing discrimination, you can file with us if you live in Nevada, or EEOC. A lot of folks will come to us. Nevadans typically like to go to Nevada agencies. But if you want to go to the EEOC, you can. We share the cases, so we'll be able to see through a system if you've already reached out to the EEOC. And likewise, if you come to us first, they'll know that we're taking your case on too for an investigation. We're also available for employers or community groups or organizations that don't want to charge for training to prevent it. The best way to prevent discrimination is to train on what you should do, what you shouldn't do in the workplace, what's legally acceptable behavior, and what is illegal behavior. We talk about illegal behavior, Mel. We're talking about sexual harassment in the workplace. No, yes. We're talking about harassment based on race or color, inappropriate texts, emails, singling out, hostile work environment, making someone feel less than because of their race or their disability, making someone feel worthless because they're getting older, or treating them differently because of their age, denying them a promotional opportunity because they're a woman, paying them less because they're a woman,
Yes.
firing them because they're pregnant. These are some of the types of complaints we see here at NERC. Complaints dealing with pay, like pay inequity just based on I worked a full day, but I didn't get my check. Those are wage issues, and those go to the labor commissioner. And that's another agency, and we triage a lot. A lot of times folks get our agency mixed up with the Labor Commission, the state's Labor Commission, but we don't do wage issues. We don't deal with that. We deal with treatment on the job based on your race, your color, religion, that's your belief in God or your atheism, sex, sexual orientation, your gender identity, how you choose to express yourself through your outward appearance and gender, disability, if you require an accommodation at work and you're not getting one within a reasonable amount of time after requesting it,
Yes.
you can contact us. These are the things. Now, this is just one area that we investigate to make sure that employers are doing the right thing.
Okay, so look, you talked to us about training. I'm very interested in that, and so are a lot of our listeners. Is there a cost for your training?
Mel, we are free 99.
All right.
We're a government agency. We're at your disposal. We are free 99. We ask that you email your inquiries or requests for training on our website. We have a whole tab. It's called trainings, I believe is the tab. Or you could just call our office. Our number, you can call our Reno office if you're up north, or our Vegas office if you are down south, and let Tina know, or Coralie, my staff, know, hey, we'd like a training. And guess who does the training, Mel?
Who does the training? Oh,
I'm the administrator that does the and we will custom tailor make it to whatever it is you are needing at your place of business. So we've had agencies say, hey, we're having an issue with we think this is going in a bad way with a manager that has been harassing folks, making just corny jokes, but over time, corny jokes based on race or sex can lead to a charge.
yes.
It's not okay. And we want to prevent it. So can you tailor your training to talk about what the law says about sexual harassment or jokes, third-party harassment? Please focus your training on that, because here's the deal. A lot of discrimination now, Mel, is like, it's very passive. It's not like, back in the day where we still get random, weirdly egregious cases where there's like nooses in the locker room.
Yes.
And it's in the manager's office. There's like a noose hanging or something like that, which is just straight up a violation. But now it's more covert, it's more passive, it's little comments, it's innuendo, it's pretextual, it's little subtle microaggressions. But for example, it would be like, well, sending an email saying you're people, or jokes. And so it's more covert in that, but we still will take a look at that. We have a team of investigators that are very well trained in the laws to prevent discrimination.
Bruce and I would like to thank all of our fabulous guests. Your time, your energy, and your talent make the show shine. A big shout out to 88.1 Power 88. Your hard work and support do not go unnoticed or unappreciated. And thank you to the 100 Black men of Las Vegas, making a difference in our valley. And last but not least, thank you, Las Vegas. You give us your love, your support, and your enthusiasm each and every time. I can't wait until we do it again. Until next time, don't forget, keep it 100.